You're now tuned in to Men Need Therapy Too, the realest space where men heal, grow, and thrive. It's more than a podcast, it's a movement. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube at Kenneth Jennings 5 and follow us on IG at Men Need Therapy 2_.
Yo, welcome on in. Come on in to the first episode of the Men Need Therapy 2 podcast. I'm your host, Kenneth Jennings, and I am coming to you guys with the very first episode of Men Need Therapy 2, the podcast where men can have real conversations. And it's deeper than just any race. It's all races included. This is just a men's therapy platform. But, like I said, welcome into the very first episode. I'm thankful that you guys have chimed into the channel. If you are new to the episode or the channel, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when I post these videos. This is the very first one. I have my YouTube channel, K Jennings 5, and also you can follow us on Instagram at MenNeedTherapy2 _. Please follow that page. Let's load it up. Let's get this podcast jumping. But for starters, just want to give a brief introduction to who I am. I'm your typical man. I'm not a professional person. Well, I am professional, but what I mean, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. I'm just your everyday dad, husband, uncle, brother, cousin, a little bit of everything. When it comes to this channel, I started it. Well, not this channel, this podcast. I'm gonna stop saying channel. This podcast. When it comes to this podcast, I started this podcast in hopes to give men a real space to be vulnerable, to be themselves when they're not feeling so well, to talk about their problems. Like, just like every other man in the world, we all know we don't talk much. Just to give you a little small introduction to who I am. Born and raised in a small town called Denmark, South Carolina. Most of y'all probably won't even know where that's located. When I talk to everybody about it, where I'm in Atlanta right now. Well, I'm in McDonough, Georgia, about 30 minutes outside Atlanta. But I've been here the past 3 years, and any state I've been in, men, people in general wouldn't even know where Denmark, South Carolina from. But it's a small town. My high school, if it can give you some reference, my high school had about 300 students total. Right now it's about 100 students total in the high school. So that'll tell you one of those real small towns that everybody know everybody. But it's all love. A lot of people make it out. A lot of people who stay, they become great. But just, to give a small introduction to me, of my journey alone, I am a teacher. I coach multiple sports. I'm a head track coach, assistant football coach. Football is my passion, my love. It's one thing that I've done all my life, and my life is still revolving around football. So I'm one of those old athletes that got back into sports because, we feel like if we ain't playing, we get to teach you how to play. We get to stay around the game. So my journey started when I went to school in Charlotte. Well, I went to college in Columbia First Benedict College to play football. It didn't work out. To be honest, that's kind of when my mental health journey started. I didn't realize that, but being an athlete where you are typically one of the best athletes on your team, you kind of, not trying to think of the word for it, the thought for it, you kind of always be the guy. You're the guy, you one of the guys, you always, it comes so easy. And one of my biggest issue was, even I had this issue as an adult sometimes, again, being vulnerable, that sometimes I get comfortable and I slow down to work. And I had that issue in high school. I worked my way up because in middle school I sucked in everything. I couldn't, being 5'10" and couldn't touch the backboard, it's crazy. Got long arms and I can't even touch the backboard. I worked my way up to touch the backboard. I worked my way up so when I got in high school that I can dominate at the sport or whatever I did, and that's what I did. I dominated I did. I was a solid high school player, to be honest with you. I could have been 10 times better if I worked harder, but I got an opportunity to play college football. I went to college at Benedict College, and I dealt with injuries. That was my first time dealing with injuries. I'm just like any other athletes. If any athlete tell you that dealt with injuries, they will tell you that injuries can derail the way you think. You start questioning your body. Okay, I can't run this hard because I might tweak it again. So you start going against yourself, and you don't realize that mentally you're going through a battle. It's mainly mental. It's not even physical. That's for most cases. So I dealt my first injury when I redshirted. Then I dealt my first injury when I came out in the spring. Got over that injury over the summer. Came back for fall football, and as soon as I came back, I got a shoulder injury 3 weeks in, and that derailed my thinking. I had to sit out the whole year. Came back the next year, and I actually went through the summer. Was about to start the fall, and then I ended up quitting because I just was fed up with the team itself. If you out there and you go to Benedict, man, I love Benedict. Don't get it twisted. But the football team was, I'm a wide receiver and it was a run based offense. So imagine all you doing is blocking, running. You're not catching many footballs unless you really that guy. And I wasn't there yet. So in my mind, I quit. I went to my dorm because I lost my scholarship that's 2 summers before because I didn't understand how college worked, and a lot of kids don't. So those who are listening out there, and you got kids that's going through the college athletic process, it's not a hustle, but you have to pay attention to the small details. So as simple as my first year there, I had a full academic scholarship, and I didn't. It was a small detail that I missed. I had to have a 3.5. I ended up with a 3.4, and it was something else, but it was something small. And I didn't realize it, so I got a letter that summer saying my scholarship was lost. I was confused. My mama called me, hey, you don't have a scholarship no more. I'm like, what? You can't go to college? I'm like, what you talking about? So when we found out what was going on, we got a letter we got one of my family members type up a letter that I had to send to the board that I sent to the board, but I didn't know I had to go back and meet with them because once again, coming from a small town, there's certain things you don't pay attention to. And it's nobody's fault. I would say it's my fault because I didn't understand it. It's not like they break it down to you because you're so happy in the moment of signing that scholarship that you think about none of that. On top of that, my college coach called me that summer and he didn't even call me. He sent me a letter letting me know that my athletic part was dropped too. Why? Because I didn't have a clue. But that's when I realized at all levels, and I was at a D2 school, it's even harder to get scholarships because they do partials. But with the D2 scholarship, they got to make room for other people to come in and, get that scholarship money. But I don't want to get long winded. But, after that, like I said, I came back that summer, I quit. Mentally, I was going through my own battle. And then I transferred to Johnson C. Smith University in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I started off on fire. I worked my butt off. Like I said, one of my biggest issues was I work and get comfortable. I worked my butt off, and then once again that injury bug came back. I pulled my hamstring the first game. I got in. I wasn't a starter, but I was a role guy, and I learned that even any young man that's listening to this, when you get in college, you're gonna understand that you're not always gonna be the star. Sometimes you got to be a dominating role guy, and that was me. I took it as this is my role. I'm gonna do my role by any means necessary. So I became one of those role guys, and I enjoyed it. First game I get in, I tweaked my hamstring. Never had a hamstring injury. My old injuries was a shoulder and an ankle. Never hamstring. I wasn't the fastest person, but one of the biggest issue was I didn't work hard in the weight room. I hated leg day. I always love upper body, arms, chest, shoulders, anything of that sort. But I could have worked harder in the leg department, which probably was the key to my injury. I wasn't a very healthy eater. Wasn't sloppy built. I was always fit, but I didn't eat very clean because I wasn't educated on it. So tweaked my hamstring, made it through the rest of that season. Had a we had a successful season. I played very sparingly. If we winning, they put me in, or even when we not, we in a tight game situation. I was a rotation guy, and I accepted that because I understood what it take to win. I was all about the team. But after that year, I tweaked my hamstring again in the spring, and I was kind of done with football at that point. And when it's a regular life, I started working. I didn't drop out of school. I finished college. I got my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and then I went back and got my specialist degree in PE. And I took the journey to become a coach at the high school level, and that turned out fine for me. I loved it. I took a break from it for a little bit, and then back in 19, me and my wife and my kids, I got 4 kids and a wife, and we ended up shipping off to Alabama, where I realized high school football is life. And that took a toll on me mentally too, because there were some things that I had to endure in that move. It was a quick move. They didn't fund the move, so I had to up and root my wife because my wife's from Charlotte. So just imagine somebody who been in Charlotte all their life. I went from South Carolina to Charlotte, so I was just like, it may be all right, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't think nothing of it. But it was a hard transition because we had to go down there, come back and pack, and then go right back down there. So you're talking about an 8 hour drive, 8.5 hour drive to be exact, and just a constant being in a new location. None of us ever have been. None of us ever been to Alabama before that, and to go there and stay. I stayed there for 3 years, and I had some great memories, but I also had some times where I just questioned, is coaching for me? I was going through a lot, just mentally being in a new place. I have no friends there. I met some people, but it wasn't as genuine as I wanted it to be. And it's nothing against them. It's just like being in a new place. Sometimes it's hard to just adjust. And I adjusted well, but that time came to an end, and then I had an opportunity to come to Georgia, not back to Georgia. Come to Georgia where I was close to my family. I'm 3 hours away from South Carolina. My wife is 4 hours flat away from North Carolina, and that was probably one of the best decisions I made. But this mental journey started a long time ago, and I just didn't realize it because I'm just like any other man, where you feel like you can't really talk about what you're feeling or what you're thinking, but you just try to hold stuff together. Especially me being the man of my house, I just try to hold stuff together. I keep it moving. I'm constantly playing that role of, man, I'm straight, I'm good. A lot of times I'm not, and it kicked in back in November 2024. The day is June. No, not June. The day is July. What day is July 13th, 2025. It kicked in back in November or October, where my job, the school I work for, which is one of the perks of being a teacher. They give you so many resources. Because they know, just like the kids, we deal with so much stuff, especially when it comes to dealing with these kids on a daily. Then you got to deal with your own kids. You got to deal with your life at home. It's a lot of stuff teachers deal with. So they give you resources, like you get free therapy sessions. And the one, when I realized it, I went in the system, and they allow all teachers to get 4 free sessions. So in that point, because I'm not sure how much therapy costs, I know it costs, and I'm cheap. But sometimes, you got to pay for what you want. Your health is very important. Your wellness is super important. I'm going to say that all the time. But in that process, I wanted to try it out first to see if it was worth trying, because I'm just like any other male in the world. I do not want to be vulnerable with anybody but people who I really know and trust. And I really don't trust a lot of people with my business, because we all know people will use that against you. It'll backfire. So for me, I tried it out. I got with a therapist. I was open. I was vulnerable. My only issue was, it took me a long time to get in touch with a therapist. I was looking for black therapists because I feel like they will understand me as a black male. I wanted a black male who I can talk to, not to be biased, but to be straight up with me. And I couldn't find one. The only person that answered or was available was a white therapist whose name was Kenneth. So for me, it was relatable. And I got in touch with him. We had one good session, the first one, but I felt like he wasn't listening for the most part. And, I felt like he was selling me some bullshit. Excuse my language for those that listen. I feel like he was just selling me some BS, giving me answers. Well, he gave me some good pointers here and there, but it got repetitive when I met with him the last 3 times, and it was the same kind of tactics. That's the word I need to use for it. He gave me some tactics to use in certain situations, which was great. But then when he started repeating the tactics, when I'm explaining to him, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and then he'll just bust out, hey, you can use X, Y, and Z. I'm like, he just told me that last week. He don't even realize it. So for me, I would never go back to him. But I learned that therapy is just like dating. You have to go through your sessions, figure out what therapist for you, and when you find that therapist, you stick with that therapist, and you consistent go to therapy. But that's enough about me. But this is the whole purpose why I started this channel. I felt like, I started. Well, let me backtrack. I'm going all over the place. But after going through therapy, I went home in South Carolina with some of my close friends. We started a little circle called Man Talk. It's about 4 of us. Well, 5 including myself, and then I got 4 other friends. So when I go home, I'm not condoning anybody to drink. Um, you don't have to drink or anything like that. We just had a couple drinks, and we sat in my mama's living room. Nothing fancy. We just sat at the table and just vent. We talked about problems and what we was thinking, what we was going through, and some ideas. And it became a thing that we did anytime I came home, so I went home probably 4 times after that. Every time I came home, I reached out to them. Hey man, let's get together. Let's have just chill. We chatted up. We talked about our problems, and a lot of times when I leave and I return back to Georgia, everybody says the same thing. I needed that, and that was for me a sign enough to be like, you know what, this need to be something that I talk about on a regular. So that's why I started Mini Therapy to the podcast. This is the very first episode. This episode is supposed to, crazy thing about it, I was supposed to start this episode back in January. And like I said, it's July. That tell you I procrastinated, I second guessed myself, but I went all in because at the end of the day, I feel like if I can help somebody, another male in this world, um, this platform is more than just me talking about therapy. It's about giving men an opportunity to talk about their problems and stuff of that sort. So that's why I started Mini Therapy too. But if you are a viewer, if you are new and you listening, just understand what to what's expected from this channel. This episode alone, I'm just literally just breaking down, why Mini Therapy 2 is gonna be a ongoing thing, why it's gonna help others, because I feel like, at the end of the day, men need this, you know, because men are expected to be strong, silent, and emotionless. In most cases, we don't want to talk about anything. We all grew up in an era, especially if you grew up. I grew up in the early '90s, early 2000s, and late 2000s. Born in '91. But even before that, it was even tougher. They always told men, "You got to man up. You can't be seen crying. Fix your face. If you're feeling down, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody you're not okay, because you don't want to show weakness." And in reality, most men, including myself, we do think like that. You don't want to show weakness, but at the same time, you're going to hold you. We hold so much stuff in, so when we let it out, we blow up, we lose our mind. And like I said, sometimes that strength that men are expected to have all the time, we're crumbled on the inside. But there's nobody that listens, and you feel like you have to keep it to yourself because ain't nobody gonna see me looking like no little bitch. Just to be real with you, I hate to even say that because I want to have this shows for everybody, but I'm gonna be vulnerable and truthful with everybody. But that's how most men think. I even think the same a lot of times. Like nobody gonna see me at a weak point because I'm a strong man. Not even just a strong black man. I'm a strong man that my family gonna know that I can take on anything. But at the same time, I have moments just like anybody else. The whole mission of this podcast, not even the episode, this podcast alone, is to create a safe space for honest conversation. It's simple as that. This is a safe space for all men of any race. You don't have to feel like you can't speak your mind. You can't be vulnerable. You can be vulnerable. You can be open. You can let me know how you feeling. If you see this, when my podcast go up, you can get in the comments. I feel X, Y, and Z. Tell me what you think about the episode. What you think you can do differently. When I ask questions, what can be done differently. How you feel. You can even inbox me. I'm open because I feel like if I can do one thing, I can help the next man in the world get their problems, not even just get their problems out, but feel vulnerable because, a lot of times I feel like I didn't have that. It's nothing against, my family or anything. It's just we bottle stuff in. You know what I'm saying? And I've had my own struggles. If I could just share a time, like I said, last year was a riff. It was tough for me, and I had struggles way before that. I just ignored them, but last year hit the fan. It was so much coming at one time. To me, when it comes to my family, work, just life itself, life was lifing. I'll just be real with you. Life was life around that time when I started seeking therapy, and I felt like I needed it. I fought it so long. I was like, let me try therapy because you deal with things. I've been in a situation where I've lost a job before. I've never really lost someone close to me, but I've lost, like I said, me losing sports itself at the time when I was younger, it broke me, to be honest with you. That was one of the hardest times for me because I realized it was over with. NFL was my dream. I had a couple backups, but the NFL is my dream, and I felt like I had the ability to make it, which I did. But when I got injured and kept getting injured, it mentally broke me down, and I just didn't understand how to get up out that rift. especially that last time, it was more than enough for me. So I kind of just not spiraled out of control, but I just ran away from something that I love, and I felt I could have faced it head on a little better. And just, if I had the resources that I really needed at that moment, it would have been totally different. But even like I said last year, I was going through a rift, just with everything. Life itself, I was second guessing a lot of things. I became so insecure that I was questioning a lot of things I wasn't questioning a long time ago. So for me, I knew at some point I need to tap in and get help. And like I said, that therapy session, it I wouldn't say it didn't work. I'm not gonna say it didn't work, but I just felt like that wasn't the therapist for me. But the one thing I did feel good after the first session, I felt so relieved. I can just talk about my problems. I can let stuff out without no judgment, because I feel like a lot of times when I am expressing myself, there's a lot of judgment. And even if the person who I'm expressing don't tell me there's judgment, I just feel that way because I'm a man at the end of the day. I feel like I shouldn't have to do that. But that's not realistic. People always want to help, but you just got to open your mouth. Closed mouths don't get fed. And that's when it kind of hit me. And right then, I said therapy is when my healing began also. Let me point that out. I started healing at that point because I was doing the homework. That's the one thing I can tell you that therapy is gonna make you do. Excuse me. Therapy is gonna make you do homework that you wouldn't do on your own. Like, okay, by next week I need you to try this. Try these breathing exercises. Try this, try that. There's a lot of things, those little tactics when you're in a situation with your wife or your friends. Try this breathing activity, or do a lot of journaling. I had to start doing a lot of journaling. I started doing a lot of different things that I wasn't doing before, because for me, my therapy and my medicine was the weight room, which it still is. I started meditating more, which was another thing that really helped. I started meditating. I started putting positive sounds in my ear as well. So a lot of positivity was going in my ear on a regular, which kind of, negated all the negative thoughts, you know. So one thing I would tell you is that therapy will make you do homework. It makes you do the work, because a lot of times we struggle with doing the work on our own, and therapy is going to make you do that. So what we'll talk about here for the most part is, like I said, today let's I want to talk about being vulnerable, relationships, fatherhood. That's what this show is all about. This podcast is all about, just teaching men it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about your problems, and wanting to have good friendships. So I try to tap into that more than anything. Like I said, with my friends in our men talk group, that's what we talk about. We talk about our truth. And the truth is, we not perfect. Nobody is. We don't think we perfect, but you walk around because you're scared to be imperfect. It's okay to be a ball of trash for a little, not a ball, excuse me. It's not okay to be a ball of trash. It's okay to be a broken person, because the only way you're going to fix something is you got to admit that you're broken. Okay, it's broken. I'm going to try to fix it. And that's what I had to get to realistically. Okay, not my life is broken, but everything around me is starting to crumble right now. I need to slow down and try to fix little things. So you start realizing that, and you take that in. And I feel like for this podcast, I want to give that to all men. This is like I said, this is a safe space. I'm gonna keep saying it's a safe space for men. I want to have real conversations. I don't want to just talk about the best things. I want to talk about some of the worst stuff. What you going through? How can we help? How can I help? You know what I'm saying? Just stuff of that sort, because men, just like most men and myself, we hide our traumas. Like, we have traumas too. That's why you'll see on TV men are breaking down crying, and because I'm glad the world is where it is today, because the world makes us feel like it's okay. They've made mental health a big I don't want to say a selling point, but they've put a they have put a microscope on mental health, and they making sure that the world know that mental health is real. Because if you would have said anything about mental health in the 90s, anytime before the 90s, the early 2000s, you'd have been seen as a crazy person. Something wrong with you, ain't no mental health, you crazy. You need to pray. And it's nothing wrong. Praying is always an answer as well, but they would have swept it under the rug. And especially coming from my hometown, if you ask anybody in my hometown, even to this day, like you tell them that they need to seek therapy. No, I'm good. I don't do no therapy. I don't want to talk to nobody about my problems. You rather talk. I think it's best to talk to somebody than lose your mind, because the suicide rate is through the roof, and it's very high in men. So I think that's very important, and that's what this channel is going to be a lot about. It's about real conversations, um, being vulnerable. Like I said, being vulnerable and not being afraid to be open. It's a safe space. I'm gonna say that again. So how my channel is gonna how my podcast is gonna be operated. I'm gonna do weekly events. I'm not doing any lives yet because I'm still growing the channel. Like I said, if you can go follow that Instagram page, let's get these followers up. Hate to sound old, get my followers up. I'm trying to get a lot of followers, man. Like I said, Men Need Therapy 2 underscore at Men Need Therapy 2 underscore, and then you can go to my YouTube at KJennings5. Let's get the subs up on YouTube, and let's get the followers up, because I want to do weekly. I want to do weekly episodes. I'm gonna do 2 a week. I'm gonna post on Monday and Fridays. So this one goes up tomorrow on Monday at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna do 8 o'clock every time. At some point, I want to start bringing in guests. A lot of the guests are gonna be people I know, men I know for now. When I do start bringing guests, some of my close friends, my men circle, we definitely gonna get on here. The next time I do go home, I'm gonna record the episode. Every time I go home and we have those meetings, I'm record the episode, because I feel like y'all need to y'all need to see the real, and why it's hopefully we can open the door for other men to be open to doing the same thing, and not be afraid to share their story. So that's gonna be something big for me, bringing in more guests. Like I said, weekly IG episodes and YouTube episodes. But I will eventually go live once I get the followers. Once I hit about 100 followers, I'm going live. I'm just be real with y'all. I'm gonna go live then. So please, let's get these followers up, man. If we can get them up, get them up. But also I'm gonna be reading the comments, answering DMs. You can leave comments. Tell me what you feel in the comments. Also, you can DM me if you don't want to be that open in the comments. I will promise you I will get back to you as soon as possible, because I want to help as many men in this world. And this is not about all black men. This is about all men. That's why I said men need therapy too. Not just black men need therapy too. All men. White, black, green, red, yellow, all of us. Because I feel like we all live by the same principles. No matter what color you are, and no matter where you were raised, you live by the same principles of man. It's been a man thing forever, that men do not cry, men are not vulnerable, men are not open. They don't talk about their problems. That's some soft shit. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's crazy to live that way, because it's okay to live that way, but it can be extreme, because you're holding in a lot, man. You would like I had to understand that, man. You will blow at some point. That's why you wonder why the violence is crazy in men, because we holding in so much. So by the time we get the opportunity to let that shit out, we go tear something up, and a lot of times it's not worth it. So let's get out here and talk, man. Don't be afraid to open your mind and speak about what you're feeling, because your feelings is valid. So I'm gonna just start off. I'm gonna leave with that. Your feelings are very valid. You know. Another thing, we're gonna be sharing stories on here as well. So just be open and understand that this podcast is for all that. So my whole thing is, if you are listening to the channel, why did you join today? That's a question you gotta ask. I'm hoping, seeing the fact that said Men Need Therapy 2, brought you in. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I understand how hard it is to speak your mind and be open to, the world about your feelings. Even if you have a partner, sometimes it's hard to even talk to them. It's nothing against them. It's nothing they did. It's just you you feel like, because I feel a lot of times for my wife, I'm gonna always be her trash bag. What I mean by that is, she gonna always be able to dump any problems she have, anything she thinking. She can put that on my plate, she can put that on me. I can handle it. And a lot of times I catch myself not wanting to tell her how I'm feeling, because she have a lot going on in itself, and I have to stop doing that, because you put them in a position where they could have helped you, and you just, you got away from it. So that's why I say, my number one question today is, why did you join today? Why did you want to listen? Why was it important for you to even get on this? So if you can answer that in the comments, leave a comment, tell me why you joined today, why you listen, what brought you in to want to even hear what I had to talk about today. Please leave comments, leave as many comments, what you thought about this episode today, what you think can be differently, what would you like to see, what you want to add. Just let me know. Anybody that's viewing, I really appreciate you. I want to start with that too, because you're going to help this channel grow. This channel is going to blow up because of you. This podcast is going to grow because of you. Keep bringing it in. Keep listening. Keep viewing. Even bring some people with you. But number one, this is just the beginning though. This is the first episode. I have millions of episodes again. Like I said, I'm gonna have an episode up every Friday, every Monday at 8 o'clock, and hopefully after a while it'll be every probably 3 or 4 episodes a week. But right now I'm doing 2 episodes right now. I want to thank anyone who joined, or if you listen to this audio on all your podcast platforms. I appreciate you. I want to start with that because this is me in here by myself. I don't have anybody with me yet, but I eventually will have more guests on at some point. This is just the first episode. Number one, plenty more to go. But my call to action to everybody right now is just follow, share, and engage, man. Follow, hit that notification bell on YouTube. Get the subs up. I'm at 85 subscriptions right now. Subscribers, not subscriptions. Subscribers. I'm at 87 subscribers right now. I'm trying to hit 1K. But I'm gonna be giving you fire content. I'm not gonna stop doing that. My page is built around mental health, fitness, and I've been on a weight loss journey for a long time. Because once again, I'm human. I'm up and down with it, and it's not purposeful, but life happens. I'm a very busy person, but that's no excuse. So that's my whole thing to you. My next topic. If you want to leave a comment about what you think about this next topic, my next topic is gonna be the power of vulnerability. Why opening up is strength or not weakness. That's gonna be my next topic. Understand that vulnerability is more stronger than somebody who decides to hold it in, because you could be vulnerable about your life. I promise you, uh, it's a burden off your back. Being able to just talk about what's bothering you. Um, I don't have any special guests coming or anything like that. It's just gonna be me. But once again, if you are looking at if you have listened to the episode, leave a comment. Share the episode. All platforms: Facebook, IG, TikTok, all of that. I haven't still setting up a TikTok for it, but I will have one up. But right now I'm on IG. All men talking about all men need therapy. Men need therapy 2_. Once again, thank you for listening today, man. The very first episode, I had a blast. I thank y'all for listening. But don't forget to hit that notification bell, like, share, and comment. And also, the biggest one, man, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram at Men Need Therapy 2_. I appreciate you. If I could tell you one thing before you leave, don't be afraid to be yourself and be open. I'm out, man. Be blessed.